I don't know that I actually have a favourite. Of course, the whole Captain Vancouver series, I've probably done about 50 paintings of the Captain Vancouver series. It's not just the painting, it's the research. Suddenly you get turned on by all this stuff, hey, there's a story. And so you're not only creating a painting, but you're learning about something you knew nothing about before. When I came to Canada, I knew nothing about Captain Vancouver, hadn't even heard of it. I didn't even know where the name Vancouver came from. Because in England, I'd learnt about Cook, but because, well, that's another story, of course, Vancouver had been buried, basically, literally and figuratively, And so it was only when I came here I learnt about Vancouver. And I had actually been asked to create 3 paintings for the International Cook Conference that took place in Vancouver. This is many years ago, which I did. And following that, I had actually gone back to live in England for family reasons for a couple of years. And when I came back, I was looking for subject matter to start painting here in Canada again, and I thought, Cook, there has to be a follow-on story here, and then suddenly Vancouver came up because he had sailed with Cook, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. So I started to look into it, and then of course this story evolved. The fact that Canada goes from sea to sea is greatly, Vancouver played a big part in that, because it was only that he was partly instrumental in wrestling the West Coast back from the Spaniards, that Canada was eventually able to go from sea to sea. So, it's a huge story. And so this is one of the reasons why we got so involved. Of course, we had in 92 we had a major exhibition of my work at the Bank of Hong Kong building in Vancouver, and the Lieutenant Governor was kind enough to come and open it. It was a huge success. We had thousands of people came to it, and it did help spread the story and tell people why Vancouver was so important to Canada, so there alone, there's this massive story which I just got totally absorbed in, But also the military stuff, I love doing that. The fishing industry, I love getting involved with the fishing industry. I have many friends in the fishing industry. In 2 weeks' time, I'll be going off on the herring fishery for 2 weeks, doing social rescue. And this is, another part of my life, but it gets me on the water. It gets me to watch how waves are formed, how the interplay of light and water and light, the physical vessels, what they're doing. So this is where I get a lot of my materials when I'm out there on the water, and you just have to sit back sometimes and just watch. Somebody said to me once, you seem to be able to paint water very well, and I don't try always to be terribly literal. There are some artists who, they paint almost every facet of the water. I don't try to do that. I try to a little bit impressionistic, a looseness about it. But what I have done in the past is I will get up in the morning when the water's flat calm, and then there'll be a little breeze will come across the water, and you watch how the interplay of light on the water and how the waves form, and then as the wind builds, the wave gets bigger, and you've just got to sit there and observe it and see what happens to light and colour and what have you. There's another facet to my art, by the way, and this goes back to when I was taught at by Vic Barber in London. He always taught me to think in terms of black and white. Don't think in terms of colour. All right. In fact, when we used to go together to the Royal Academy summer exhibition, and we would we'd take up the catalogue, and we would individually mark the paintings that we liked the most out of this whole exhibition. And it was amazing at the end when we did our we both liked the same painting very often. But it was amazing how often they were monochromatic. They were not highly coloured paintings, right? But he taught me to always think in terms of black and white, because when you're painting, it's black against white against black against white. It's not red against blue against, all right? It's total values. It's the total values you have to understand, the subtleties of total values. To make something look white, you've got to have something dark against it. All right? And he always said that if at the end of the day you take a black and white photograph of your picture and everything reads, then you're right. If there's something that doesn't read, you made a mistake. So total values, understanding your total values is absolutely crucial. And if you want to, I always remember him coming in and he'd look at my rendering and he'd darken this and lighten that, and almost like it just exploded in front of you. Build your contrast. And that's something that well, today with modern photography, of course, you can do anything. But it used to be that an artist can dramatize something in a way that the camera can't.